Welcome back. You're watching Kura 2022 on K24, and thank you for your company and time. We are with the ODM Party Secretary General Edwin Sifuna here in the county of Mombasa. Katibu, thank you for staying with us. Let's talk about the 2018 detente between the president and your party leader Raila Odinga, unexpected to many, but meant to address the instability at the time and the political confusion as a result of the 2017 elections. But there are others on one end of the political divide. May I say this, the deputy president's camp, who see this as a succession plot to springboard your party chief. What's your response?
I think there have been 1,001 allegations as to the import and the intent of the handshake. You were in the media at that time, and I remember I was SG. They said, oh, this was a plot for ODM to get into government through the back door. You remember there were those stories of, oh, ODM is going to cabinet. Some of us were supposed to be going to cabinet every week. There used to be newspaper headlines. All sorts of allegations have actually been thrown at the handshake. You know, there was a time when he was telling us the handshake has been able to stop government programs, yet we continue to see the president launching his programs. The government work is going on unabated. So this is just the latest of all those allegations that have been thrown as against the handshake, and that it was a succession plot and so on and so forth. We in ODM actually understood what the handshake was about, that it was not about bringing anybody in government from the opposition, or that it wasn't about succession or anything. But we feel that given everything that we've been able to achieve together as ODM and Jubilee over the period of 4 years that the handshake has been in subsistence, the next natural step is to take this relationship forward, because there's quite a lot that has been able to be accomplished by the Jubilee government because of the tranquility and the peace that were brought about by the handshake. So it is something that we celebrate as a political party. We continue to urge our members to understand that this thing was never intended to subvert anyone or to destroy Jubilee. As you have seen, the president has relaunched his party. The party is still intact. Those who have left, but the party is still there. And government projects and programs, most importantly, have continued unabated. So as ODM, we want to dismiss those people who want to throw those allegations at us. Okay. And at the end of the day, as the president has said in many occasions, that he too has an individual vote, okay, and that he is bound to cast it for one person or another. And in fact, many people have been seeking this endorsement. There are people who were wholly dependent on this endorsement, and I don't want to mention names because you know them. And immediately they were not able to secure that endorsement by the president. They have become extremely bitter. Now they're throwing all sorts of jibes at him. But for us as a party, we will continue to be focused because the work is not yet done. We know that we have an election to win, and that is exactly what we're going to focus on.
Okay, then, you're talking about the ambiguity around the statement you made in regards to the other person who wanted the president's hand. There was only one political party that had planned to rule the country until 2032, and that was Kumi Yangu and Kumi Yako by the president, who at the time alluded to the deputy president, Dr. William Ruto. But then the ODM party, and by extension you, have talked about the importance the handshake has brought about with regards to a safeguard around the country's economy and the dipping profits that were registered by companies, especially as a result of the uncertain times after the polls in 2017. But of utmost importance will the president's hand be if he were to say Odinga Tosha in August?
I think the president has a very, very significant constituency, not just from his Mount Kenya region, but across the country. If you look at the number of votes he was able to secure in places where you cannot attribute it to his deputy, for instance, in Bungoma, in Western Kenya, Uhuru got a lot of votes. So there are still people who will heed his call. And the value of that endorsement or support is something that is known to everyone in the political circles. That is why it was so much sought after. We have brothers of ours even in Western Kenya who were wholly dependent. Their 2022 plan was wholly dependent on an endorsement from the president. Okay. And immediately that endorsement was not forthcoming, the entire plan collapsed. So they continue to throw jibes at him, but in their heart of hearts, they know that the president still holds significant sway on political matters in the country, not just in his Mount Kenya backyard, but across the country.
Do you think it's the coming together of the president and the ODM party leader, your party boss, that led to the fracture we have in the ruling Jubilee party?
I don't think so, and you don't have to take my word for it. You need to just ask close associates of the Deputy President, the Honorable Charles Keter, who's a close associate of Ruto and a former Cabinet Secretary, has come out to say, and it was in the media, that in fact that fallout was going to happen anyway. Because some of us know that, in fact, there was no ideological underpinning between URP and Jubilee. So it was bound to happen, and they are the ones telling us, it is not us. Charles Keter has also confirmed that, in fact, the handshake never messed with the workings in government, that they never saw the negative effects of the handshake in cabinet, which is a direct impeachment of the argument that has been sponsored by Deputy President William Ruto, because, as you know, he thrives in misinformation and lies. So we, as ODM, our position is clear, that, in fact, we have nothing to do with that fallout. It was bound to happen anyway, and the people in there are the ones who are telling us this. You know, here in Pwani, they say, yep. Ukisikia habari za mamba kutoka kwa papa, unajua ni ukweli kwa sababu they stay in the water together. Yeah, so if the crocodile comes and tells you that the hippo is sick, they live together there. Okay. So they are the ones telling us that, in fact, this was bound to happen.
Maybe to more information.
Correct. They know themselves more than we do.
But when you see the current state of political situation in the country, we have parties that often end up on their abyss because of misunderstanding perhaps, or succession plans that have gone wrong. For example, you supported the ODM party chief, and you're on record for saying that since 2007. And then we had the Coalition for Reforms and Democracy Code in 2013, and then we had NASA in 2017. Now, of course, it's disenfranchised. The ruling Jubilee Party, if it were not for the revamping process that is underway at the moment, was also heading to the political abyss. Given what's happening at the moment, 30 years after we became a multi-party democracy, are you concerned about the political state of political parties?
Well, it is worrying, because if you are walking in a graveyard of political parties and you are a leader of a political party yourself, you would be concerned. But this is why there has been deliberate effort from the leadership of the party to make sure that this party outlives many of us. We must be at the forefront of building strong institutions, and by many accounts, ODM is the only political party that is almost achieving institutionalization. I acknowledge that we probably are not there yet, that we still have challenges, but we try every day, we wake up every day to better this political party. We come up with innovative ways to ensure that we appeal to more people, that we are able to satisfy the desires of our membership, and to try and establish this political party for the longevity that we expect it to have. So, for instance, when a political party is buying its own premises, moving from a rental headquarters to a headquarters that is fully owned by the political party, that is a signal that this party is going nowhere. In fact, the people who are migratory, they don't set up permanent structures. Okay. People who are here to stay are the ones who invest in physical structures, showing you that we are going nowhere. And to invest in strong constitutions, strong rules, and to engage our members repeatedly so that we can be able to have this political party even beyond the years when we will be in power. So we continue to try, because it is a very difficult environment that political parties operate in. Many reasons have been cited as to why political parties, come and go after elections. Okay. But there has to be a deliberate effort by the leadership of each political party to ensure that that political party outlives them. And we are only seeing that in ODM. And
then comes the Political Parties Amendment Bill that we earlier on talked about. And to many, it will restore hygiene in our political culture in the country, because you look at, over time, the 30 years since we had the multipartism, and you look at the upsurge in the number of political players and political parties, but then they have failed to harness public trust because of failure in service delivery. Given what we have then, this coming into law, do you think then that it will also, besides that, make us a country of coalitions, where we will have all Kenyans represented, a cocktail outlook of parliament? For example, what we have in Germany, say, Olaf Scholz just won the elections last year in November, but then despite coming from a party that has huge majority, he is still unable to form the majority required to form government. He will be in coalition talks. We had the same in the United Kingdom and also in Netherlands, across many setups that are parliamentary democracy. Are we heading there, and will coalition governments in this country be healthy?
No, I think we have had coalitions even before the recent amendments. And in fact, we were playing catch-up to existing, situations before, say, in 2002. This law was coming to regularize the existence of entities like the NAC party in 2002 that was able to field candidates both by the constituent parties and even by the coalition party itself. So what I see, certain amendments that are going to strengthen political parties. For instance, the reorganization of how political parties qualify for political party funding. It has been argued in the past that the criteria for people being able to benefit from the fund has been a bit restrictive. Because it was quite wondrous. You needed to have a certain number of governors, a certain number of senators.
Pegged on representation.
Yes, on the number of seats that you're able to get, and then you qualify for the fund. Right now, it has been made easier. For as long as you have one governor or one MCA or one whatever, you are able to qualify for the fund. And then probably, because one of the biggest excuses has been that these political parties are dependent on the party leadership's benevolence, that if we are able to pump this public money into political parties, probably we will have more established political parties. So that is a plus. Number two, there is more incentive for political parties to give opportunities for young people and the women and persons with disabilities to run, because there is a section of the fund that you only qualify for depending on the number of people who have been elected who are from those minority groups or special interest groups. So those are the things that are going to drive political parties to be able to ensure that we are able to institutionalize and to establish and to include everyone, because now there is a monetary incentive on ODM getting as many women elected, as many youth elected, as many persons with disabilities.
Okay, you spoke about the ideals within political parties,
yes,
which are very important to make concrete fundamental foundation to establish these political parties, because they're important in the lubrication of our democracy.
Yes.
What's the ODM party's plan post Raila Odinga, because he is the Copernican constant who everything revolves around?
I think it is very un-African to discuss the absence of a leader. But the truth of the matter is, if you look around the party, and he himself has spoken about this, he has been able to grow a lot of talent around him. He has been able to nurture a lot of people who, even in his absence, I will give you the example of when he traveled recently. And you saw that his lieutenants were all across the country. We had a team in Siaya, for instance, covering Siaya and Western. I was part of a team that was covering Eastern. There were teams everywhere, people who have been nurtured and grown by Raila Odinga to be able to take over in the event that he calls it a day in politics. So I am very confident, and I can challenge anybody in any other political party to show us a leader in any political party who deliberately mentors people, including the SG who's speaking to you now. When I was appointed SG of ODM by Raila Odinga, I was only 35 years old. Tell me which other political leader does that. And he has grown all this talent, political leadership around him. We have people like Governor Hassan Joho, Governor Oparanya, people he has walked the journey with. And we have been able to imbibe in his wisdom and the knowledge that we have to be prepared to step in the event that he calls it a day in politics.
Okay. And there are those some who are raising concerns and are perhaps excoriating the party leader, the ODM party leader, your boss, that is Raila Odinga. For example, Jimmy Wanjigi, who was by your side in 2017 and now says he's persecuted because he's opposed to the ODM party leader and that he wants to be president on the party ticket. How do you respond to this allegation?
Jimmy is persecuting himself. There's nobody who's persecuting Jimmy. I have said it and I can repeat it, that in fact, only Jimmy knows the agenda that he's on. We are not interested in any sideshows, which is why we have, as a leadership of a party, taken a position that we will just ignore him. Because really, we don't understand which mission he's on. If you want to run for president of ODM and you want to campaign amongst, you have to campaign amongst the delegates of ODM. If you come and call a rally in Tononoka, for instance, you don't want to be the presidential ticket flag bearer of ODM. Because the people who determine whether you are the presidential flag bearer are not the public in Tononoka. You have to talk to the delegates like Sifuna. I am a voting member of the delegates who determine who is a presidential candidate. And I can tell you, Jimmy has been unable to convince me on how he can become president of a republic, let alone the flag bearer of a party. So he is on a frolic of his own. We are not interested in what he has to do. He knows in his heart of hearts that he has been unable to convince anyone in the party that he is able to be a flag bearer. So we are really not interested in the things that he's doing. It is upon his right to make all the noise that he's making. But I can assure you that he is not interested in being president, let alone the flag bearer of ODM, because of his conduct.
Okay, appreciated. Mechanisms in place that the party has the structures and the authority to conduct its own party nominations, and whoever wins, according to you, will get the congratulatory message. Nonetheless, though, the Mombasa County Governor, where we are, Ali Hassan Joho, and Kakamega Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya also expressed interest to be the party's flag bearer for the ODM party in the presidential elections. Where did their intent end? Because they had filed the documentations with the party.
Publicly, and I don't know how you could have missed this, they have publicly stepped back from that ambition and endorsed somebody else. They have endorsed a party leader, Raila Odinga. They have done so already. So I think that is a matter that is in the public domain. Yeah.
Was there a consensus, perhaps?
I don't know, because this is a decision that they took individually. They took individually out of recognition that in the party, Raila Odinga stands the best chance to represent not only our desires, our ambitions, our aspirations, but also our interests as a political party. So that is something that probably only Joho and Oparanya can get into, but I have seen and I have heard them publicly, including today. They have said it, that they support Raila Odinga.
And then there are parties, because we're in the coast region, and this is a very important visit for the ODM party chief since jetting back to the country from India. And it's important that he consolidates this support base that has been beside him since 2007, when the elections were conducted, and then 2013 and 17. And it seems to be in the eye and hot on the heels of the coast region are other politicians, including the deputy president and others who have expressed interest to be the next occupants of State House in Nairobi. Then the likes of Pamoja African Alliance, a party associated, closely linked with the Kilifi County Governor Jeff Amason Kingi, who was your party member, are concerned about the organization outlook of the ODM party, and rather the Azimio outlook, which the ODM party aspires to be an umbrella heading into the elections. How do you address such concerns in your support base?
First of all, I am very clear in my mind that the people of the coast, still up to today, believe that the ODM party is the clearest expression of their aspirations and desires as a region, as a people, especially given the history that they have had with this political party. You know, there are certain things that you look to. If you are somebody who believes in justice, equity, your natural home is in ODM. If you are a party, a person who believes that we can have a country that is, free for everyone and everybody has an opportunity, the natural home for you is ODM. These people at the coast have, for a very long time, supported Honorable Raila Odinga and ODM. And those aspirations and their desires have not changed, because the party has not changed the way it treats the people of the coast. So there is absolutely no reason, and there can be no justification for you to claim that I, as SG today, can defect from ODM, go and form another party, and then try and enter an alliance with ODM. It doesn't make any sense. That's like the left hand shaking the right hand and claiming that you have had a handshake. It is just you. So here at the coast, 100%, that in fact they are fully behind Raila Odinga and they will remain steadfast in ODM. Those who are interested in forming the other political parties, they are free to do so, because politics is a right of association, you know. It is a right of association game. So if you feel that you no longer desire to be part of an organization, you are free. But then when you leave, you cannot again dictate terms to the organization that you've left or the political party that you've left.
Okay, yeah. We look forward to a lot of other developments, including the party nominations that we earlier on talked about. And may I just seek some specifications as to this? And when we get back from the break, we'll be talking about the forthcoming National Delegates Convention, that you will be, of course, a key player towards its organization. And we have in Mombasa County, which is very critical county in the country, economic-wise and also politically. And then the rivaling interests of Suleiman Shabal, businessman, and Vita Member of Parliament Abdul Samad Sharif Nasir, a key member of the ODM party, the chair of the very crucial parliamentary committee that looks into the accounts of government. In the event, there seems to be stalemate, and the universal suffrage that the party leader today talked about comes up with one candidate and the other feels aggrieved. What's going to be your point of address? How do you absorb the other party?
Because I think as the party leader said, that in fact, kwa nyumba ya baba, there are many rooms. That in fact, we will all get accommodation in his government. And the reality is, Ayub, that there can only be one candidate for ODM or even for the Azimio coalition. There can only be one candidate. So even where there are 15, 20 aspirants, you would have to be lying to them to, you know, tell them that they will all get tickets. They can't all get tickets. So what the party leader has stressed today is that we must accept that the consequence of election, that there's always going to be somebody who gets a ticket and those that who don't get a ticket. But that we are all members of one family, and that if we unite and fight together to be able to win this cake, there will be a peace for everyone.
When we get back from the break with the last bit here on Kura 2022 on K24, we talk about the forthcoming National Delegates Convention next week in the county of Nairobi of both the ruling Jubilee Party and the Orange Democratic Movement. And that will be coming up next after the break. Stay tuned.